Over the last 7 years, HSV played in the second division in the Zweite Bundesliga after getting relegated. And there's a banner in there which just says Iron Loyalty.
When they got relegated, that was really meaningful to the club, and everyone was like, okay, now we're gonna do it.
If you leave the city, you can really see from the colors and the stickers in your neighborhood where you are and which club's territory it is.
When you live alongside a club like St. Pauli, it kind of creates a binary relationship. You're left wing, they must be right wing. And it's not really true and it's not really fair.
Em Hamburgo, segunda maior cidade da Alemanha, o tempo parece passar diferente. A cidade vive o tempo do rio e dos canais que estão por todos os lados. A economia, a história, o futebol, tudo acontece a partir da vida no porto.
Yeah, I think Hamburg is just known for its water, so it's not just the Elbe but also the Alster. So you have two very important rivers that just kind of change up life here, and I think everyone moving away from Hamburg also says that what they miss the most is the water.
Mas o tempo pode ser um aliado traiçoeiro, principalmente quando uma torcida inteira conta com ele para moldar a identidade de um dos maiores clubes do país. Para a torcida do Hamburgo, contar o tempo teve um preço alto. Um relógio enorme no Volkspark Stadium indicava não só os dias, mas os minutos e os segundos de um recorde histórico. O único time alemão que nunca tinha caído para a segunda divisão. Um marco tão importante para o time que até o mascote, o Dino, faz referência a essa longa permanência na elite do futebol. Até que o tempo traiu o HSV, como o Hamburgo é chamado pelos alemães. E em 2018, o último clube finalmente foi rebaixado. Depois disso, foram 7 anos batendo na porta. 7 anos em que o tempo pareceu querer se vingar e que o relógio desacelerou. Até que finalmente o Hamburgo voltou para o seu lugar cativo, mas não sem deixar marcas na história e na identidade do seu torcedor. Mas para saber o que significa esse momento do clube, é preciso entender primeiro o que ele representa e significa da própria cidade. E o Peleja foi lá para conferir isso de perto.
Da brauche ich auch gar nichts erklären. Die Lady hat alles.
I think Hamburg, like generally, it's somewhere where you can find everything, like for your lifestyle. If you can walk sort of 400, 500 yards, you can be next to great wealth, luxurious shopping, but then you can also be up to areas like St. Pauli where it's a little bit more residential and it's a bit more traditional and it hasn't been gentrified and taken over by money. And I think kind of like the harbour is two things. The harbour is Hamburg's history, and you see you can still see the working docks if you walk along the harbour. At the same time, you can see a lot of the regeneration that's going on here. You know, maybe the shipping industry declining a little bit and becoming less relevant, the global commercial sense, but it remains the beating heart of Hamburg.
E se o Porto é uma influência para toda a cidade, é claro que com o futebol não ia ser diferente.
HSV really understands itself and really is a club that represents all of Hamburg, and Hamburg is super proud of their harbor history. It's the most important economic factor, and so it's the same for HSV. HSV and harbor is the same as Hamburg and harbor. Has been all the time. So actually the logo, for example, the shape of the logo is resembling a harbor maritime signal. So we have Hamburg and harbor really ingrained in our DNA.
The main ultras group at HSV is called the Castaways, and you'll see they have a kind of like an aggressive seagull as their logo. You'll see that everywhere. And actually, when you're at the game, if you look at a lot of the banners in the ultras section, you'll see a lot of symbology that comes from the harbour. So you'll see anchors, and over the last 7 years, HSV played in the second division in the Zweite Bundesliga after getting relegated. And there's a banner in there which just says Iron Loyalty with a massive anchor.
Nessa altura, você já deve ter se ligado que o HSV não é o único clube da cidade. Uma parte dela se recusa a vestir branco, preto e azul. E você provavelmente já sabe de qual parte eu tô falando. O St. Pauli, o outro time de Hamburgo, aparece com frequência nas páginas de futebol fora da Alemanha. Isso porque, apesar de menor em torcida e títulos, o clube ganhou fama por levantar bandeiras políticas que atraem torcedores no mundo todo. Historicamente, o St. Pauli disputou poucas vezes a primeira divisão. Até por isso, para a torcida do Dino, essa rivalidade só foi ganhar mais peso depois que o Hamburgo caiu e os dois clubes passaram a ter mais confrontos diretos.
Also die Geschichte vom HSV fing ja 1887 an. Der Verein, der war der erste hier in Hamburg. Hier unten sind wir im St. Pauli-Gebiet von den Vereinen. Der ist oben an den Heiligen Geistfeld und der HSV ist in Stelling, an der Autobahn. So, und der HSV ist eben größer hier in Hamburg. Wir haben ja auch von Anfang an in der ersten Bundesliga gespielt und sind vor 7 Jahren das erste Mal abgestiegen. Das bedeutet, dass der HSV ist eigentlich der Dino in der Bundesliga gewesen. Jetzt ist der HSV ja wieder aufgestiegen nach 7 Jahren. Der HSV hat eine viel größere Fangemeinde als der St. Pauli.
Mas quando a gente fala de um clube de massa como é o Hamburgo, a gente está falando de muita gente. Inclusive gente que faz questão de reforçar a ligação do clube com trabalhadores e com a cena cultural da cidade.
When St. Pauli defined themselves as a left-wing club and sort of grew out from that left-wing ideology, it kind of cast HSV as a right-wing club in people's minds, and it's not really true. What is true is back in the 80s, German football as a whole had a racism problem and a neo-Nazi problem. And you would have these groups, which, not necessarily in Hamburg, but you can still find around the country today, like in isolated pockets, have those belief systems, but they don't really represent what the club is about. Like Hamburg is an apolitical club in my mind, and I think a lot of the stickers that you see, for instance, you'll see Love Hamburg and Hate Racism, or HSV gegen Rechts, which is HSV against right wing. It's about making sure that people understand that, because when you live alongside a club like St. Pauli, where the ideological definition is so pronounced and so famous all over the world, it kind of creates a binary relationship. You're left wing, they must be right wing, and it's not really true and it's not really fair.
So I think looking at the tradition, and tradition is probably the key word here, it's always been the bigger club in the city. If you look at the city, it's pretty much every area besides St. Pauli and Reeperbahn, the HSV part of Hamburg. And even if you go outside of Hamburg and you drive up north, for example, and you're close to Denmark or wherever, and you do have Holstein Kiel now, which became a bit bigger as well, but everywhere on Föhr and Sylt, on several islands, on the countryside, you always see HSV everywhere.
If you leave the city, for example, and drive up to Denmark or south to Hanover, you will also see HSV graffiti all on the highway. There will be stickers at every rest stop, and you can really see from the colors and the stickers in your neighborhood where you are and which club's territory it is.
I think the way to look at it is Hamburg is just the city's club, and if you were to stand in the stadium, you could be sitting or standing with a left-wing person, a right-wing person, a straight person, a gay person, it's everybody.
There have always been stickers and especially graffiti to make the city look nicer and paint it in your colors. But I think especially in the last 15 to 20 years, it has kind of become like a mini war against fans from other clubs to mark your territory.
O Andreas não estava brincando quando falou dessa guerra por território. O cenário de uma das entrevistas foi escolhido por representar essa disputa. A escadaria de Davi, ou a Davidstraat, dá acesso ao bairro de St. Pauli e estava pintada com as cores do Hamburgo. Mas nem 5 minutos depois da entrevista da Ellie, rolou uma coisa bizarra bem na frente da nossa equipe. Numa ação coordenada, um grupo de torcedores do St. Pauli subiu correndo com spray pintando a escadaria das suas cores. A coisa toda durou menos de 1 minuto. Foi tão rápido que quando a gente tentou gravar, eles já tinham sumido, e a escada tinha voltado para as cores do time rival. Pelo menos, por enquanto. O vazio que o relógio deixou no Volkspark Stadium colocou uma nova camada nessa disputa narrativa quando tirou um título que fazia parte da identidade do Hamburgo. Mas, depois de 7 anos, a torcida parece ter aprendido a lidar com esse novo tempo do clube.
And did you felt that this relegation impacted the identity of the fan as well?
Maybe a bit, and actually I think for the better, because we were always criticized as maybe thinking a little bit too high of ourselves because all the heritage, the success in the past, always a bit too optimistic. That maybe came across a little bit arrogant at some point. So that part is definitely gone.
When they got relegated, that was really, really meaningful to the club, and obviously it was probably the worst relegation for a club in Germany because it was the identity of Hamburg to be in First League, and the members' numbers just went up insane. So that was record-breaking. I don't remember the exact numbers, but just the weeks after that, everyone was like, okay, now we're gonna do it.
Pode ter demorado, mas de fato, eles fizeram. Agora, o Hamburgo e a sua torcida gigante estão de volta à primeira divisão. E a festa promete ficar ainda mais insana.
I was at the game where Haasbau got promoted back. It was like a catharsis, like a relief, just because a lot of people had started to feel like it would never happen. And also, 7 years, there are a lot of people who didn't make it. People passed away and people lost grandparents and stuff. And so have this game back on the stage where Hamburg feel they belong. It's an amazing moment for the club, and it feels like also, both clubs deserve to be at this level. They have fan bases that deserve to be here.
I think this is mostly pride and uniqueness, so to speak. So it's just something that at that time made the club unique, but also still makes it unique because it's something you just can't take away, even though the clock is not there anymore and Hamburg has been relegated down to second league. I think it's still just knowing that it is the club that stayed in there the longest, still one of the clubs with the richest history in Bundesliga.
Daqui da arquibancada, sem nem conseguir me escutar direito, fica clara a importância de um clube desse tamanho estar de volta na primeira divisão. Se ao mesmo tempo que parece que o Haasbau está em todos os lugares da cidade, também parece que a cidade inteira está aqui para empurrar o gigante de Hamburgo.